This is Echoes of the Silk Road, where legends, dreams, and eerie bedtime tales unfold. Close your eyes, listen closely, and let the echoes guide you.
They say every town has its secrets. Stories pass quietly from one to another, like soft whispers in wind. This is one of those stories. Not loud, not flashy, but hiding in the everyday, where luck and fate play their quiet game, just out of sight. I never thought I would be the one to tell it, but here I am, sharing what happened to me and what I learned about the moves we do not see. It was day like any other, nothing special on surface, but sometimes most ordinary days hold closest calls, moments when world shifts just enough to pull you back from edge. And it all started with choice so small, I almost missed it. I turned left instead of right that morning, not because I thought about it, just instinct. A small tug inside, like breeze pulling on your coat. Gentle, but clear. My usual route was crowded, loud. I knew every crack in pavement, every face I'd pass. But this other path, it felt open, wider, empty in a strange way. There was an old man sitting on the bench, outside the bakery. Never seen him before. He nodded at me. Slow, like he knew something. I didn't say anything. Just nodded. I nodded back, kept walking, thought nothing of it. At the time. Few minutes later, I heard it. Sirens, people shouting, back in direction I usually walk. Something had happened. Bad. I checked my phone, my usual street. There'd been an accident, right near the corner where I wait for the light. Same spot, same time. They said it was a delivery truck. Brakes failed. Skidded straight through the crosswalk. Hit 3 people. I would have been there. I stood there in the quietest street, phone in hand, heart like drum in chest. I didn't know what to think. Why did I turn? Why today? Why not the day before? Or after? What made me move different? What kept me safe? I used to think luck was just chance, coincidence, but now I think maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the result of a whisper we don't hear, a nudge we don't recognize, a thread pulled by hands we cannot see. Not miracle, not magic, just a move we didn't see being made on our behalf. I kept walking, but slower now, like the street had changed somehow, like I was walking through a space between what happened and what could have happened. Then I saw him again, the old man from the bench. He was standing now, looking right at me. He didn't smile, just watched. When I got close, he raised one hand and said, "You listened." I stopped. Listen to what? I asked. He looked up at the sky, not like he was checking the weather, but like he was listening to something I couldn't hear. "You turned," he said. "That's enough." I didn't know what to say. Didn't know how he knew. Maybe he was guessing. Maybe he'd seen me before, but it didn't feel that way. Before I could ask something, he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out something small, a coin, but not like any I'd seen. It had no markings, no year, just smooth metal on both sides, warm in his palm. "Keep it," he said. "It's not for spending." He placed it in my hand. The moment it touched my skin, I felt something strange, like a vibration, soft and low, running up my arm, not electric, not scary, just alive. I looked up, but he was already walking away. Didn't say goodbye, didn't look back. He turned the corner, and I never saw him again. At first, I didn't think much of the coin, just a strange moment in a strange day. I slipped it into my coat pocket, went home, made tea, stared out the window. But the next morning, I found the coin not in my coat. It was on the windowsill. I live alone. No one else would move it. I don't sleepwalk, I don't drink. I remember clearly. Pocket, coat, hung by the door. But there it was, catching the light like it belonged there, like it wanted to be seen. The day passed, normal mostly, but small things, tiny shifts, began to happen. I left 5 minutes late for work because I couldn't find my keys. That 5 minutes saved me from getting stuck in a train delay, the exact delay that made my coworker miss a meeting she prepped for all week. Another day, I spilled coffee on the shirt. Annoyed, I changed the first one. Turns out it had torn down the back, something I wouldn't have noticed until I was already in public. It wasn't magic. It wasn't dramatic. It was small, subtle, like something or someone was adjusting the furniture of my life just slightly. A chair moved half an inch so I wouldn't trip. A delay in traffic to keep me from crossing paths with something worse. I started carrying the coin with me all the time. I never used it, never flipped it, just carried it, as if it were listening to me, or protecting me. Then came the night I left it at home. I'd taken off my coat, warm weather, coin still inside. I didn't think twice, until I was halfway to the train station and the sidewalk ahead of me. Construction accident, right where I would have been. Again, second time, but this time I wasn't saved. I was stopped, pulled back, not by the coin, by a stranger who tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you dropped this." It wasn't my wallet or my ID. It was the coin. In his hand, the one I'd left at home. I didn't say a word, just took it, nodded. He was gone before I could even thank him. That night, I couldn't sleep. I held the coin in my hand, staring at it under the dim kitchen light, like it might blink or speak or vanish. It didn't, just sat there quiet and heavy, like a secret with nowhere left to hide. I thought back to the old man, his coat, his words. It's not for spending. So if not for that, then what was it for? By morning, I had made up my mind. I went back to the bench, same street, same spot, but he wasn't there. Not even the pigeons looked familiar. Still, I waited. An hour, 2, bought a coffee, waited more. He never came. I turned to the only other clue I had, the bakery. The one I never reached that day. Maybe it was silly, but maybe not. It was still there, tucked between a tailor and a bookstore, like it had been waiting for me. The bell jingled as I walked in. The smell hit me first. Warm bread, honey, cardamom, and something older. Behind the counter stood a woman, middle-aged, sharp eyes, hands dusted in flour. She didn't smile when she saw me, but she didn't look surprised either. "Took you long enough," she said. I blinked. "Sorry?" She wiped her eyes on her apron. "You're not the first to come asking about him. Most people don't come back, but you're here. So, what do you want to know?" I held up the coin. Her gaze dropped to it, and for the first time her expression changed. Not fear, not awe, just recognition. "He gave it to you," she said. "You've seen him?" I asked. She nodded. "Twice. Once as a child, once before my mother passed." "Did it do something for you?" I asked. She hesitated, then, "It doesn't do, it listens, and sometimes it chooses." She leaned closer, speaking low. "There are stories, not written down, only spoken, like whispers between cracks in the world, people who are about to die, to fall, to lose everything. And then something shifted. Not a miracle, just a moment, just enough to change everything." "And they all had the coin?" I asked. "Or something like it." "Not always coins. Sometimes a feather, a key, a stone. No markings, but the same feel, like it carries the echo of a decision not yet made." I left the bakery with more questions than answers, but strangely, I felt lighter. Not because I understood anything, but because someone else had seen him too. This wasn't about luck anymore. It was something older, something written in silence. Over the next few weeks, I began to notice the pattern. The coin would shift. I'd leave it on my dresser, find it in my coat. One morning, it was on the kitchen calendar next to my phone, which I nearly forgot before rushing out the door. Another time, it was in my shoe, and only because of that, I avoided walking out onto ice-glazed steps. At some point, I stopped fighting it, stopped questioning. I let the coin speak, and I listened. But the real test, the moment I understood what it was, came on Monday. I was running late again, always something small, wrong sock, burnt toast, stupid things. I crossed the intersection just before the light changed. And something made me stop. I don't know what, not a voice, not a sign, just a weight, a feeling in my chest, like the air itself tinged. I paused, looked back. A truck ran the light. Full speed, no brakes. It missed the crossing by seconds. If I hadn't dropped my pin, and if I hadn't paused, if I hadn't looked back, I'd have been gone. No headlines, just another name on the news. Another moment of silence no one would remember. But I was still here. I reached into my coat pocket. The coin wasn't there. It was already in my head. So, call it fate, call it instinct, call it a gift. But I think some lives are watched more closely than others, not because we're important, but because we're not done yet. And somewhere, along some ancient road that stretches beyond what we see, someone makes sure we get a little more time. They say there are roads not marked on any map, paths that only appear when the world shifts just slightly, when the wind holds its breath and fate leans forward to listen. Those who have walked near the edge, the very edge, sometimes learn to return with something in their pocket. A feather, a coin, a note, a stone. Nothing loud, nothing dramatic, but it hums with the weight of timing too perfect to explain. It is not proof. It is not magic. It is not a promise that danger won't come again. But it is a whisper that something, somewhere moved, so you didn't have to. And maybe that was enough.
Don't forget to return. There are more stories waiting in the dark. Until next time, sleep well and listen closely. You never know what you'll hear between the silence.